Shalom, family. I want to start by giving all praises, all honor, all glory to the Most High Yahweh, for truly His mercy endure forever. I'm your Captain Nicole, and tonight's class is going to be going into quitting. When is it okay for us to quit? Should I quit now? I've been following this Hebrew Israelite movement for a couple of years. I haven't seen Christ return yet. Can I quit now? Now we're going to be going to this. But before we begin, let's start out with Colossians 3:17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Adawan, Yahushua, giving thanks to the power and the Father by Him. So everything that we say, everything that we do, everything is going to be inspired by the Scriptures. So we're going to be reading directly from the Scriptures and using our experiences and going from there. Because this is a classroom. This is for us to build up one another and for us to also learn. So the question at hand, have you gotten to the point to where you just want to quit? Now I'm going to take a coach's approach here. I consider y'all a part of my team. People that I want to succeed. People that I want to see make it to the kingdom. And when I'm thinking about quitting doesn't solve anything. I speak as a man. Now, of course, there's conditions, but we're referring specifically to the truth. Quitting doesn't solve anything. If I quit here, when things get hard, now I get to the point where it's hard to build up the habit of digging deep, of learning to endure, of learning to overcome. At the exact moment when we want to quit, we want to give up and throw in the towel, that's where the devil is the strongest. With Yahushua, he was on the mount for 40 days and 40 nights. Mentally, physically, and spiritually, he was at his weakest. So we want to build ourselves up through the Spirit and power by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. We want to build ourselves up to get to the point to where our weakest is stronger than the devil. It's stronger than those temptations. So I would even go as far as to say it's as strong, if not stronger, than Yahushua was mentally. Because when he says in the book of St. John, chapter 14 and verse 12, he says, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, shall he do also. Because the works are part of enduring and a part of going through the temptation, and a part of not quitting is a work behind that. It says, and greater works than these shall he do. Now, if we have that approach, if we have that mindset of we're capable of more than we think, we have the faith, we have the confidence that's established, then we won't have to necessarily go into making back doors before we even get started on something. Because right now, we look for easier paths. We look for easier routes, an easier way to do something. If I want to lose weight, okay, let me get liposuction. Let me take some diet pills as a quick fix rather than putting in the work. You know, there's nothing better than us putting in the work and being able to look back at the end, you know, be like, Khan, I did that. You know, I ran that mile, or I ran that marathon. I endured until the end. We have more appreciation. As we start to develop, of course, as we do those different things, we start to develop the confidence. We start to appreciate those victories that we have. And even that, we have those examples that through our success, we can have a story to share on how to overcome something that someone else is coming across. You can be that example. Now, I understand the thought comes to mind here and there. I understand the doubt. I understand the uncertainty. But if we're to quit, think about what we're quitting on. No, we're quitting on the Most High. We're quitting on our chances to break generational curses. We're quitting on our chances to get out of situations of struggling, like paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. Let me get Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6, actually. Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6. It reads, My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee. Now, we don't want to be rejected from the Most High. The knowledge that he gives us is written within the scriptures. There's also an understanding that the knowledge that we lack is a knowledge of finances, a knowledge of being able to budget, a knowledge of having an established credit line, having good credit. This is also a part of the knowledge that we lack. So we're destroyed financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, all the way around. So as we start to build up, as we start to, of course, it's a process. Because anything that's worth something is, it's something that we got to work towards. So we were destroyed before. Now we got to build up brick by brick, layer by layer, creating those different foundations. Now we can start to understand the importance of credit, the importance of understanding our worth and our value within the world and to the Most High. We can stop settling. We can stop living paycheck to paycheck as we start to get this understanding, get the knowledge. Because in the schools, we have these different classes around finances. We have these different classes around courtship and relationships. We have different classes around communication. So this is a part of us getting back from the state where we were destroyed. Now we can start to reverse that. Instead of being destroyed, we're complete, we're whole. We are as Yahushua was. Now, also, some other things that come to mind when we start to think about quitting. Now, what does quitting involve? We're quitting on, if we have a family, we're quitting on our families. Because this is the only way that we have an inheritance that's going to be forever, that we can pass down. That's not going to be moth-ridden. That's not going to be spoiled or corrupted with rust. It's something to think about, right? Because we're quitting. When we look at Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, we're quitting on our purpose in life. A lot of us spend years and years and years to figure out what our purpose is. A lot of us do a whole Da Vinci Code route, spend thousands and thousands upon thousands of dollars to figure out what the purpose is in life. And we have it. And for us to quit now, we're quitting out on our purpose. We're quitting out on ourselves. So this is a marathon for a reason. Let me get the book of Hebrews, chapter 12. Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 1. It reads, "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight, and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us." So this is a race. We got to understand that. A part of a race, a marathon especially, requires us to get prepared, requires us to get some running shoes if we don't have any, to get trained up. Start with a mile. Go from a mile to a mile and a half, 2 miles, so on and so forth, until you have that consistency. You have your mind ready to run for an extended period of time. Then we can start to work on the diet. Then we can start to work on the sleep and the recovery. All these things are a part of the marathon. In order for us to get prepared, we have to, in order for us to run this marathon, we got to count the costs so that we can get prepared properly. So right now, this is our time to train, because race day is going to come, and we got to run that race despite how we feel. If we feel good, we're going to run the race. If we feel bad, we're going to have to run that race. So when at any point, this is where the training comes in. Let me get Judges chapter 5 and verse 11. Judges 5 and verse 11. And it reads, "They that are delivered from the snare of the archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Most High." So here, right now, we're supposed to rehearse the righteous acts of the Most High. Because in times of turmoil and trouble, in that final marathon, we're going to have to dig deep. We're going to have to do things, in some cases, for some, we're going to have to do things that we never prepared for. And for others, it's going to be as if it's a habit. And there's a couple of quotes that I have here. It goes into tough times don't last, but tough people do. So one of the things that comes to mind on how we can endure, how we can push aside this thought of quitting. We got to find our why. We got to find that thing that's going to allow us to endure. One of the things that comes to mind for me is I want myself, and as I mentioned earlier, the people that's on my team, the Israelites, as Romans 10:1 says, I wish that all Israel might be saved. I want us to see the kingdom. So when I look back and during those times of trials and tribulations, I got on my phone screen, I have a couple of elders as a reminder to continue to endure. Making it to an elder is something to strive for, and then enduring further and further after that. So also another thing that helps me stay focused is being written down in that book of life. Because everything that we do, everything that we say, our thoughts is going to be recorded. So it's either we're putting in the time, putting in the work for the Most High, building up that spiritual bank, or because there's no interest, or we have zero that's added into that spiritual bank because there's no interest. We're just not going. We're not growing. So the scriptures that I have at the moment, let's get getting to understand our why. I gave you some examples of my why. Think about when we're at work and we have nothing to do. Work is just completely boring. It's just bland. The days go by slow. We have to find something that we can do where we're needed. Whether that's in the school that we're going to, or find something that we can do for the Most High. Because when we're doing something that we're needed, something that's appreciated, we understand, okay, if I'm not here, no one else is going to do it, and it's not going to be getting done. So each and every Shabbat, you have a reason to help out. You have a reason to strive for better. Let me get the book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. Book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. And it reads, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars." So right now, we're in the time where we're hearing of wars and rumors of wars. We're hearing about what's happening in Russia and Ukraine, with China and India and so on and so forth. We're hearing about this. "See that ye be not troubled." Right now, we're in the last days. We got to understand we're in the last days. And actually, I have a quick picture here. Let me pull this up. If we're in the last days and we quit right before we get to the diamonds, that's just going to be a whole bunch of time wasted. This says you never know how close you are. We're in the last days. We know how close we are. Days we got to understand and move accordingly. No, we can't finish or we can't quit right before we get to this finish line. But yeah, let's continue reading on. "See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So the end is not yet. So we have time to build ourselves up spiritually, mentally, and physically. And now let's go into Psalms 25 and 4. If we don't necessarily know what our why is, if we don't necessarily have that factor that drives us quite yet, we just know that we want to be in the truth and that this history, the law, statutes, commandments, the Most High, this is something that's important to us. We can start to do a prayer in the book of Psalms, chapter 25 and verse 4. It says, "Show me thy ways, O Most High. Teach me thy paths." So we don't know necessarily where to go or what to do. We can ask the Most High, and He'll show us the way. He'll light that path. Like if you think of Skyrim, you have that translucent path that takes you to the mission. The Most High is going to do that for us. Now let me get Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 25. And it reads, it says, "Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee." So when we take on a task, I'm going to get this in another. So when we take on a task, we're always looking around and wondering what everyone else is doing. That's one of the reasons why horses have those guides to prevent them from looking left and right. It just keeps them focused. We got to use our why as that thing that's going to keep us focused. Whenever we get distracted, whenever we want to give up, make sure we can look back at our why so that we can continue to go down that straight and narrow path. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 26, it says in the NLT, "Mark out a straight path for your feet. Stay on the safe path." So if we're hearing of rumors of wars, we have to do what we can in order to endure. We have to do what we can in order to not quit, because this is the only safe path that there is. Let's go to James chapter 1 and verse 4. It's a couple more scriptures, then we're going to wrap it up. James chapter 1 and verse 4. And it reads, "But let patience have her perfect work." Enduring is a perfect work. Not quitting is a perfect work. Patience is something that's working on us as soldiers of the Most High, as officers of the Most High, as men and women in this truth. Patience is having its work and is working directly on us. So us enduring, you're not enduring for no reason. And that endurance is going to 2 Peter 1 and verse 5. And it reads, "And besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to your virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance," that's patience, "and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness charity." So all these things are from patience. Us enduring is the easiest way for us to become the best version of ourselves. Now, in the last scripture I'm going to close out with, the book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13. Book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13. And it reads, "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this is the gospel of the kingdom. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come." So we're going to hear this. The end is near. The end is near. It's going to get scary. It's going to get... You're going to start questioning yourselves. But remember, the same that's going to endure unto the end is going to be saved. With that, I just want to say, keep going. Don't quit. Because the Most High believes in you. Us at the Light of Zion, we believe in you. On that, I want to say shalom.